Hey guys, it's Michelle Patterson here with Angel Souls. As promised, I'm doing a video on how to get a reading, meaning how to receive the information when you are getting a reading. The number one thing I would say is that you should never go to a reader out of neediness. If you're feeling lost and you need some guidance, okay, but as you're approaching a reader or you're paying for a reading, it should be in the spirit of, let's see if this resonates. Not trying to like, okay, I'm going to test you. Do parlor tricks for me. I hate that. Do parlor tricks for me. We'll talk about that here in a second too, about different styles and sort of what our preconceived notions are about psychics and mediums and, you know, the information that's coming through. We'll get to that. But, you know, don't go there with the intention of, I need this person before I can do anything in my life. Oh, you're in trouble if you're doing that, because they can take you for a ride. They can make you believe anything. Don't do that. Be empowered when you're going to a reader. Treat it like it's going to be a moment maybe of clarity or, validation, whatever that is for you. Also, when you're going to a reader, try to understand what kind of reading you're getting. We are all not the same. An angel reading is different than a psychic reading, which is different from a tarot reading, which is different from an astrology reading. Yeah, we're all using our psychic abilities, but you know, the kind of information, the way it's going to flow to you is going to be different. So really get to know what the heck you're getting into before you go in. I personally, as a reader, if I may be just completely blunt and honest, I get so tired of people coming to me and expecting a psychic reading. And when I say psychic reading, in the way that we think of a psychic reading, I see that you are going to be doing this in the future. No, they don't do that. Not at all. And I'll get more into that here in just a second. So know what you're getting into so that you can have realistic expectations. Okay? The other thing I would say to that end, listen to your own instincts about who to go to, number one, and respect their process. Everybody reads differently. That means, I want my reading in person. Well, maybe that person doesn't do them in person. Why? No, I can't accept that. Yeah, okay. Then go to Madame Zelda on the corner. That's also a game, isn't it? Yeah, whatever. Go to somebody who does the reading in the way that you want. Okay? I personally choose not to do them in person because I don't want people leaning on me as a crutch. I think it's disempowering. I think it can be kind of enabling at times. It drains me. It drains me just to do readings via MP3 the way that I do them. But the biggest reason why I don't do them in person is because I don't want to see what you look like. I don't want to see how you're presenting. I don't want to hear your voice. It's not because I don't love you. It ain't that. It's because I don't want to be influenced in that way. I want to tune purely into your energy. I'll tell you what, I may have said this story before, but I did a reading for someone one time, and I just picked up that, and I'm sure he wouldn't mind me sharing this, but I just picked up that he was sad and very insecure and just, like he felt unloved in this world. So I gave him that message, and he comes back. His response was, nobody has ever picked that up about me. Nobody has ever figured that out. They think I've got it all together. Here's my website. This guy was gorgeous. Gorgeous. He's super successful, snappy dresser, the whole bit. And if he were sitting in front of me live, I would have doubted the message that came through, because I'm thinking, like, he's really insecure. But looking at him, I would have thought too that he's all put together. He's got life figured out. I don't know. I would have made me insecure. I may have still given him that message, but I would have, again, been doubting it. So again, that's my approach, and that's why I do it the way that I do. And I really don't appreciate people who can't respect that, or people who just, even if they mean it in a light sense, like, oh, I wish you did them in person because then I would get a read. That's so offensive. It's like, I wish you were a different kind of reader so that I was more satisfied with your service. Like, dude, come on, So just make sure you understand how they're going to give you the message, and respect it. Now I'm thinking of another example. This client was bad. She was mean. She came out. She didn't read my website. It's like in 4 places that I deliver it via MP3 that it's 20-day wait time. I mean, it's all over my website. But she went ahead and got a reading and thought it was going to be live, and she was very, very offensive so that ain't on me. That's on her. Like, again, it's out there. It's not like I, tricked her in any way. So just be mindful about that. Now, let's talk about the different kinds of readings. Now, the kind of reading that I do, I consider it channeling. I mean, we can all argue the meanings behind all these words. I don't really care. I don't see, and that's how I'm kind of not involved in the spiritual community. I'm like, y'all can fight about that. You can all like fight over the terms. I don't care. you decide what angel does what. That's fine. I'm going to be over here doing my work. But I consider myself a channel. So what that means, or a medium, what that means is all I'm doing is just I stay in an open space for you. I have an ability to do that. Everybody has that ability, but I practice it more, so I can do it a little faster. And I just tune in. And whatever I hear or I feel that you need to be presented with, that's what I give to you. It's not about, oh God, it is so not about what is so-and-so thinking about me. I got an example about that too. Hang tight. We'll get back to that here in a second. But I'll just feed the message to you, and you're supposed to just listen to it. Now, when you hear, specifically an angel message, it may not make sense to you in the moment. It never makes sense to me. I don't know what the heck's going on with you. I would say the details of your life are your business. I don't need to know the details of your life. I'm just feeding this information to you. So often, you might have to write something down. I would always encourage you just to not dismiss. That's all. Just don't dismiss. If it's not making sense, it's okay. It may not right away. You may have to sit with it for a while. Or for a lot of my clients, it doesn't make sense until about a month later, 6 months later, and then they come back going, oh my gosh. I even had a woman who was told she could not have children. And I was like, no, the angels are saying there's a baby coming. No, I can't have a baby. 6 months later, she was pregnant. So don't dismiss. And it's not me. I'm just sitting here. I just kind of feed it to you. You know what I mean? It's coming from them. So don't dismiss anything that the angels bring forward for you. And it may not be in an obvious way. And this is another thing I always say. You can't listen with your mind. You have to listen with your heart. Okay? You absolutely have to listen with your heart. So, actually, they're kind of, now you're getting it, because now they're kind of talking to me, and I lost what I was going to tell you before. What do you guys want to say? Oh, thank you. They were just like, we're here for you. We're supporting you. Thank you. I lost my train of thought. Sorry. But yeah, see, that's another thing too that happens. You might get a reading, and I might be in the middle of saying something, and then they start talking. And usually what they do when they're getting ready to come in with a message or something, they'll clear my mind. So literally, it's like all the words go out of my brain. Everything that I was just talking about just went, bloop. Goodbye. And here they come. And so they kind of clear the space so that they can bring the message in. Can I get back to what we were talking about? Okay. So where shall I go next? What do you want me to say next? Okay. So angels will not tell you your future. Okay. So I've said this before. Not usually. I mean, you might get lucky and they'll tell you something, but it's usually something that if they're going to tell you something about your future, it's something that you already knew. It's something that you already knew. So it's just kind of giving you a nudge and saying, yeah, that's the right direction. Keep going that direction. The angels go by God's law, which is, God gifted you with this free will. So God will even interfere in your free will choices. I guess there are some exceptions from time to time, but it's not the norm. Okay. So the angels go by that rule as well. So they're not going to interfere with your free will. Interfering with your free will at times, depending on how it's presented, would be coming in and giving you all the answers. Now it's planting a seed of suggestion. Now you're getting off course. Now you're doing something else, and maybe you completely mess up what you were doing. You understand what I'm saying? So they're not going to come in and tell you the details of your future, because it's really up to you. You're creating it. Okay? Yes, you have a soul contract. Yes, you have a timeline. There are high points on that timeline. But it's like, I always say this, it's like, deciding on a Saturday, I'm going to go run some errands. Here are all the things that I want to accomplish today, but how you accomplish them is up to you. And maybe at the end of the day, you don't actually end up accomplishing everything, so you have to come back and do it again. It's kind of like that. But they're saying, even now, we love you. We love you. So we're not going to help you be needy. We're not going to help you be disempowered. We want you to have your own epiphanies. We want you to satisfy your karma. That's another thing. If they told you something, now they're reminding me again about tapping into someone else's soul, because there's that free will discussion going on there. But again, if they told you your future, you wouldn't satisfy your karma, and you'd have to do it double time, probably. Okay, so they know what they're doing is the bottom line. So I think what I was getting ready to tell you guys previously was that I've had clients come forward. There was one person who kind of really coerced me into doing a Skype reading. And I don't think this person watches anymore, so this might be safe to say. But I mean, I'm not trying to, betray their trust or anything like that. You wouldn't know who they are anyway. But I just think it's such an important example, and I do have the support of the angels to give this to you for educational purposes. Okay, so there was a client who wanted to have a Skype reading, and it didn't go well. This person just kept, again, wanted it to be like a therapy session, which is not bad. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just not how I'm doing it, right? I'm a channeler, so I need room to channel. But this person actually had, and I think I was getting ready to tell you about a woman who was doing this as well. So I have clients who come to me and they want me to tap into somebody else's soul to see what they're thinking and feeling about them. Okay, so I just thought of two examples actually. I will not do that. No, God's law. That's going against someone's free will. That's being invasive. I will not do that. What I can pick up on is if they have some bit of that energy just sort of out there for anybody to see. If it's just kind of obvious and it's just laying out there, I can pick up on that and give that to someone. But for the most part, I will not tap into that. The other thing I don't typically do is I don't typically deal with fourth dimensional beings, meaning I will have somebody come to me and be like, can you channel my loved one? Okay, well, no, I don't do that by choice. I could, but sometimes, and again, this is how the angels work. It's okay to get an angel reading and ask about your loved one. If it is in your highest good to have that person come forward, and wherever they are on the other side, if it's conducive to them coming forward, they will come in with their angels. Sometimes it's through the angels. Sometimes I do get to talk to them, but they're flanked by angels, right? So there are times, though, where it's not in your best interest to have that loved one come forward. This is, again, where I'm different than other psychic mediums, because I will tell you no, because the angels said no, because it's going to hurt you even more, or it's going to keep you wallowing in your grief, or whatever. Every situation is different. So sometimes the angels will not bring your loved one forward because it's not the best thing for you at that time. Okay, so that's where, at least my approach to angel readings, that's where I feel like it's a little different as well. So non-predictive, again, angels are not, they're not into linear time. People always want to know when. You might get lucky and they might give you a month or something like that. But at the end of the day, it's up to you whether you make that happen or not. They also don't have a gender. People love arguing. No, Gabriel's a girl. No, Gabriel's a boy. Gabriel's an angel. He doesn't have, there you go. I'm a human, sorry. I have to use pronouns in there to talk about Gabriel, but he's an archangel, so he doesn't really have a gender. That's our goofy thing that we do here in our duality consciousness, right? So there's that too. People thinking that the angels are airy, fairy, fluffy. No. And they assign that onto me as well as a reader because they think I'm going to be all fluffy. People think that I don't swear. Yes, I do. Oh, yes, I do. I get real colorful with my language. And again, this is where I don't fit into the spirituality community, because a lot of them would be like, oh, that's low vibration. And they're right. But, some good holy water, just kidding, whatever. But, I still embrace being human. I'm not trying to be anything other than what I am. So yeah, I get really ticked off at things. But because I'm an angel medium, people think that I'm always like, love and light, love and light, love and light. Sometimes I am, but I'm more real than anything. So, and I know what my purpose is. And it is to, probably I will never be completely on that side until everybody else is kind of on their way, because I'm meant to be a bridge. So it's important that I do remain very human while being in my spirituality, right? So there will probably be people who get to be all in the love and light all the time before me. So the other thing that I just thought of, I wanted to share this as well. I was at a metaphysical shop the other day, and I love these people in this place. And the one guy was on the phone, and it just was so, it was such a great observation, because I could hear him talking to someone on the phone about how to get a reading. And, he's going through all the business end of it. And then he was like, well, what they're going to do is they're going to tell you guidance and things that you need to know, and, like whatever comes up. No, they don't always use cards. Well, sometimes they don't need the cards. No, sometimes they just use their bodies as the messenger. Well, okay, if you insist on having cards, I guess the reader could do that for you. It's just so amazing to me. I guess because I'm in this, like I kind of already understand how all this goes, sort of. Like, you don't need the cards. That's because they're pretty. I don't know. They add a little something. We are physical beings, so we need ceremony. We need the physical, right? It helps us connect. But I don't always feel like I need the cards. Definitely not. As a matter of fact, it kind of, especially in personal readings, it's usually mostly a channel reading, which I got criticized about as well, because again, someone brought their expectations to the table and criticized me and said, all you did was talk. All you did was talk. You didn't even talk about the cards that much. Girl, it's called channeling. Look it up, okay? And know what you're getting into before you get a reading. Okay, anyway. Mini rant in the middle of this educational video. So anyway, you don't always need the cards in a reading, okay? So try not to judge somebody if they're not, using cards or some sort of tool or whatever. So how is this kind of reading different than like a psychic reading? Psychic readings, there's a deep, rich history behind the esoteric arts. They're varied, and they are arts. They take years and years to really master. And, you have to remember, there was a time, just to oversimplify it here, why the heck not? There was a time where esoteric information was very sought after, and it was honored, and people would go to the oracles, or they would, the king would have his advisor, his astrologer there with him, and he would lean on that astrologer to make decisions. Disempowerment, but whatever. Who am I to tell a king what to do, right? So anyway, they would have their advisors around them, and it was honored. And then it kind of got into this, shady place in history where now we're hanging witches and burning them and whatever, because, we think that they're evil or whatever. And I don't know their personal stories, and I don't know what they were doing. But point being is that, we have religion, organized religion coming along, and now it's getting more powerful. And now it's okay for nuns to talk to Jesus and to hear Jesus, but if anybody else does, it's weird, okay? And that still holds kind of true today. I still get called a big weirdo because I hear voices. Oh, I'm going to stop air quoting. I'm sorry. I get annoyed when people do that, and then here I am doing it. Ugh. Anyway, sorry about it. I have people tell me I'm crazy, all that kind of stuff. So basically, there was a time where it was shrouded in so much mystery that it was thought of as evil, and therefore had to be condemned. And, the people had to be condemned, and people had to do it in secret. And I think even now I'm getting the feeling that the people who still tried to pursue their esoteric art, because they were getting diminished so often, or even kind of abused because they weren't giving the message that the other person wanted, again, they kind of crept into the shadows, and now they're kind of hiding away. Well, now that time has changed, and now we're coming out a little bit more, but there are a lot of readers out there, and God bless every single one of you. I'm not here to tell anybody how to do their job or how to read. I respect that 100%. But I do feel like, and I've come across a lot of readers who still lean on the old way of doing things. Now, this would be a message just for readers out there, just for your consideration. If it resonates, great. If it doesn't, keep on keeping on. Again, I'm not here to judge. But I think because we are evolving, this whole thing of making people believe that you have a gift that they don't, I don't think you're going to get away with that for much longer. People are going to start catching on that they could do what you do, right? Just for themselves if they want to. Or this whole thing of, I'm going to nurture you because I'm here for you because I care about you so much. You're an enabler, okay? You got to be careful with that. And you're giving too much of yourself. I've had this conversation with some friends who actually do the, can I call them traditional psychic readings? And they have talked about how draining it can be. Well, it's because you're leaving yourself too open. Some of you need more boundaries. All right. And respect, best thing I ever heard from a guy who read my palm, because we got to talking about shop. We started talking shop. Oh, there's the air quote again. Sorry. We started talking shop. And he said, you know what? As a reader, you always have to be willing to go, here's your money back. You got a problem with how I'm doing it? Here's your money back. Or you want to sit here and cry about it and not listen to what I'm telling you? Here's your money back. So, if you're a reader out there, just remember that you're allowed to keep some of that energy for you. You don't always have to. You're not a bad person if you don't coddle every single one out there. There's a difference to me. Like, I can tune in when someone's genuinely hurting, like someone's really in a depression or something like that. That's a far different feeling than someone's like coming to me and going, my boyfriend broke up with me and I just want to die. Really? Really? Go get you some Ben and Jerry's, okay? Call your girls, do your thing, cry about it. Okay, fine. Tell me about your boyfriend. Oh, he was my twin flame. Oh, that feels like another video. Quit saying that. He's not your twin flame, okay? Yeah. At best, he's a soul buddy, all right? Another time. We'll get into it. But you have to be really ascended to be with your twin flame, all right? And I hardly think that you're ascended if you're sitting here wanting to cry on my shoulder and be like, feel sorry for me. Sorry, but there it is. So anyway, go out there and process. But like these people that come and they want these readings because, okay, if you did break up with somebody and you want to know what kind of, what was the spiritual meaning behind that? What was I supposed to learn from that? I love it when people give me questions like that. Here's this event. What was I supposed to learn from it? Or, what are you picking up, Michelle, that I was supposed to learn from it? Like, that's empowering. I like that. You're trying to grow your soul. You're trying to learn from your experiences. But people who just want to whine and cry about their life, if you're a reader out there, I think we're not going to have a choice going forward. You're going to have to start telling those people, sorry, I'm not here for you to use as a punching bag. Sorry, what I do is real. And I'm dealing with a very holy thing. So please do not bring that energy in here, or what have you. I just came up with another example because someone kind of pulled that on me. It's a sticky kind of thing, right? It really does come down to discernment and tuning into your own instincts and trying to feel out who's really wanting help and who's just wanting to complain. Okay, and to kind of use you as their punching bag once again. But I don't know, as I was saying that, I thought of the example. I went to this Mind Body Spirit Festival, and I like getting readings too. I like feeling out different kinds of readings. And again, some of the psychic readings that people do, they're very predictive. It's kind of future telling. And really what a psychic is doing is because you have free will, they're taking a timestamp on your current energy and telling you, okay, here's the trajectory. Here's where you're heading. And that can be very valuable because if you hear it and you're like, oh, dang, I don't want that. You have time to change it. You have time to cut. So that's how they're very, very valuable. So I'm going around getting all these cool different readings, really meeting a lot of great people. It ended up where I sat down and people were like, oh, you're an angel medium? Hey, instead of paying me, you want to give me a reading? And I was like, sure. We just exchanged readings. But there was this one reader, okay, now she's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. She should not know thyself, right? She was a reader who should not have been at a Mind Body Spirit Festival. I could never do that. No. Remember how I read? I don't want to look at you. No, you could tell that she was definitely overwhelmed and she didn't have that many people at her table. And I guess this is kind of stupid to say, but I kind of felt bad for her. So I was like, hey, are you ready for a reading? Can you do a reading? So I sat down. I'm perfectly calm. I'm just sitting there. We're just chatting a little bit. And she's asking, what did you want to talk about today? I was like, well, blah, 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 kind of saying some stuff. And she's like, I feel like you've had a really hard time of things. I'm like, yeah, it's been a tough year. It's like, I just had to move. I just moved here, and it was kind of a debacle, but whatever. And she interrupts me and goes, okay. Your energy is just, I want you to get the picture in your mind. I'm sitting there just like I'm sitting here with you. And all of a sudden she's freaking out. And I'm just looking at her like, okay. Like, what? Who's freaking out here? Like, you're freaking out. So she made me feel very uncomfortable. And I suddenly started, like, I kind of turned on my thing. That's part of, I guess, a defense mechanism. When somebody's trying to tell me something, I'll kick on my meter a little bit. And I'm like, okay, you got my money. I just went out. Okay. Like, I'm not coming back here again. But she did. She had a very, like, I would almost call it like a visceral reaction to my, I'm not going to air quote, energy. And I was like, girl, what is this? I don't understand. So you got people like that out there too, who, you know, maybe she should be doing them not live. Maybe she should be doing them via email. She goes, so what do you do here? What's your work? I said, I'm an angel medium. And she looked like, like she had just been like caught or something. I don't know why she would feel that way, but I was like, yeah. And I said, I'm usually pretty good at keeping my energy really calm, even in the worst circumstances. I might talk it out a little bit. I might have things to say about it, but I'm not really one who jumps off a cliff over things. So yeah, it was just such a weird, like, we didn't like each other. And again, that's okay to say. Our energies did not mesh. Okay. So again, you know, expecting your reader to be superhuman. I have to be understanding of this woman. As much as I didn't like that experience, it's her reaction to it, and I have to honor that. And not everybody's going to like everybody. Okay. And I would say too, you know, especially with YouTube, as you're watching certain readers, there are some psychic readers out there on YouTube who are really fun to watch. And I too will tune in every month. They're very, you know, like, they're getting very successful. Good for them. That's awesome. For me personally, I've never found them to be accurate, but I still like listening every month because it's like the lottery, because you don't know, like, maybe this is the month where something really specific is going to be meant for me. Like, you know what I mean? So it's fun. And sometimes maybe that's all you're supposed to be taking it for. But if you want to do some real work, if you're talking real spiritual work, again, educate yourself on the various practices, the various esoteric arts. Really kind of try to hone in on, how do I want the message? Where do I want it to be coming from? Okay. Do I want to just be aware of energies and, you know, kind of like, how do I want to say, energies that might be affecting me personally according to the stars? Well, obviously that's astrology, you know, or do I want something that's a little more, you know, cutting through the nonsense, maybe even has kind of a shadow aspect to it a little bit that will just give me the negative along with the positive. If you're really into that, not sugarcoating it. Okay, I guess is what I'm getting at. Then that might be tarot. Tarot is very like, I'm going to give it to you, right? Or if you want to talk to your loved ones on the other side, maybe a psychic medium would be someone really great to contact. But, and again, I have to dispel this myth because there are a lot of angel mediums out there who kind of pump up this myth. But the angels love you. They'll protect you. Okay, they will give you guidance. This whole idea where the angels will coddle you and make your life all better, nope. They're tough. They're very tough. And boy, you want to talk about tough love, kind of parenting kind of thing? They love doing that for you, all right? And it's really hard being that one taking that kind of energy and giving it off to people, because again, people come and get an angel reading expecting, I think, to be coddled. This is where we do some real work. This is where you come and you might hear something that rocks your soul. I've experienced it myself. That's why I do this work, because I know it's real. And it has changed me in so many ways. So I want to, and of course it's my calling, so that's why I'm out there doing it. But yeah, it's not airy, fairy, fluffy. No. So the deeper your question, actually, without trying too hard, the better result you're going to get from the angels. As a matter of fact, when people come and they ask, you know, me and my boyfriend, me and my girlfriend, we're going to get back together. We're going to stick a pin in your question, and then we're going to go, boom, we're going to go right into your soul. And we're going to go, why are you asking this? Why did you have this experience? What did you learn from it? And usually it'll pop into something that you haven't healed from your childhood or from a past life or what have you, right? It goes deep. It goes deep. Again, it's not just bubbling along the surface of life. We'll get back to your question towards the end, but your question is always the thing that sparks something that needs a deeper understanding. So we go deeper first, okay? I'm going to leave it at that. It's a half-hour video. I got the January 2016 videos to record here. So if you guys have questions about readings, if you want to leave comments to just be nasty, I'll block you. I'm not kidding. But if you want to be argumentative, I'm not opening this up for debate. It's more like if you have real questions about, especially how angel readings go, or what my personal perspective is about what kind of reading you might need, go ahead and leave those comments down below. I'll do what I can, certainly, but I love questions about, how do the angels work? How do we work with them ourselves? All those kinds of things. I may not get a chance to respond to your exact comment, but if I get enough of the same kinds of questions, I might make another video for you. Okay, so there you go, guys. That's the best I can give you right now. I love you. Take care.